Another good week, great week. You get two new specialists in on Wednesday, and for those guys to go out and execute it the way that they did on Sunday, it just says a lot about the group. Says a lot about the team overall. Because at the end of the day, man, it's really really hard to win in this league, and it's even harder to win on the road. And this team that we have is a special group, resilient group, just freaking gritty as ever. And, I love coaching them, love being in the building with them day to day. We just continue to find ways to win. I think, Brian Osmore did an unbelievable job of kind of talking to the group, as a leader of of our ST unit about the, roads really being more so about journeys and not destinations, and really spoke highly about Parker Romo and the journey that he's took to get to where he's at, and how much confidence we had in him going into the game, or a guy like Jake McQuaid who just showed up on Wednesday and trying to figure out the vet he is, the all-pro that he is. And Mr. Wright being well connected and really kind of getting the whole operation, right where we wanted to be at. But it just says a lot about who we are as a team and where we're going and the identity that we have. And it's something special in this group, man. I'm just so appreciative of all those guys.
What did Parker do on Tuesday to solidify the spot?
He just came out and was his consistent self. He was the same guy that we saw back during OTAs. He was consistent. The ball striking consistency was there. He's kind of got this bravado about him, like this edginess that you really appreciate. Where he's very confident, in the workout that he had. He did end up missing one, but after that, he responded the right way that you want to see your kicker respond from a mental capacity standpoint. And we were just kind of confident in who he is and what his process is. And, he's got some familiarity with Mr. Wright, so that's always helps with the operation, especially when you have to bring in two new guys. So if you're able to kind of mitigate, the change in that kind of helps out too.
You have having experience with him in the offseason and up in the summer. Why did you guys need to have a tryout with him?
Well, you always want to make sure that you're checking the box. Bring it in. You never want to just bring in one guy. You always want to make sure that you're confirming. When we brought in some guys who have kicked in the league, some veterans, it was a mixed group of guys that came in, and obviously it's still a competitive tryout. So, you don't want to just hand the job over to a guy. It was more so, is this guy still have it? And he hasn't really had too many workouts since we've released him. So we've got to make sure that he's been sharpening himself up, staying clean in his techniques and fundamentals. And surely enough, he came out and executed the way we expected him to, and just kind of checked the box for us.
How would you rate the difficulty level of kicking in Jacksonville on the grass? I don't know if it was wet.
Yeah, it was. I don't know if y'all. I'm sure a couple of y'all were there. I mean, it was. Yeah, the surface wasn't the best to play in. It was windy, very windy down there. The kicking conditions were. I mean, they were. I wouldn't say very, very difficult, but it definitely wasn't just a breeze, out there. And so it was definitely some elements that we had to adjust to and had to be able to execute in. And guys went out and did it at an elite level.
What was the level of difficulty when the one snap that was wide and
Yep.
Wright had to reach out and put it down? Was the timing disrupted, or and what was the level of difficulty?
That was a great hold by Mr. Wright. Jake put it out just a little bit outside of his frame. Great job of really getting it down, and even Park said, that he, for a split second, he wasn't sure if Mr. Wright was able to get it down, but as soon as he saw him catch it, secured, he had plenty enough time to be able to see the spot, find a sweet spot, and swing up and through the football.
So was Parker's timing thrown off at all?
It was not. No, it did not get thrown off. No.
How did you guys identify or find Parker in the first place? Going back to the spring.
Yeah, so we did. There's guys that we trust in this league who hold camps. Nick Novaks was a good friend of mine. Actually, formerly used to play with KO. Was a great kicker, as you know, unbelievable career. Gary Zahner's been doing kicking camps, specialist camps for 20 plus years now, and so that's a great opportunity for us as NFL coaches to be able to evaluate, talent that's in the streets, whether it's NFL free agents or college free agents, these guys get an opportunity to go out and compete at these Novak and Zona camps, and it gives our scouting department as well as us an opportunity to go out and gives our eyes on these guys. And Parker Romo ended up being a winner of the Gary Zona camp, which allowed us to get eyes on him. And again, he had this bravado, this confidence, that just this edginess to him that you just really appreciate as a coach and your kicker. And so, when we ID him, we were like, this is a guy that we can see in our building that we want to bring in. And so with that, we ended up signing him. And of course, we ended up drafting Will, and, that ended up being a great competition. And unfortunately, roster construction ended up happening. We had to release Parker a little early in training camp before he fully got an opportunity to see how it would end up playing out. But, again, here he is. He did enough to get an invite back, show that he was able to compete within the workout, and from there won the job.
He said he didn't have any tryouts between the time you guys cut him to when you did bring him back. Living in Fayetteville, Arkansas, working with the local college.
Yeah.
What does that say about him that he was able to respond when he got that opportunity, but also that he kept sharpening his tools?
Yeah, and again, that goes back to just the journey, and how difficult it is to win in this league, but how difficult it is to even play in this league. There's so much sacrifice that goes into it. Whether you're in it, you're out of it, you're fighting to get back in, and he's somebody that's trying to still maintain a job, support a family, but still trying to chase a dream at the same time. And so there's a lot of sacrifice that goes into making sure I'm still being a family man, still providing when I don't truly, have a NFL job, right? I still got to find a way to have some type of income, but still give myself the opportunity to still sharpen my tools and stay on top of it, especially if I'm not getting, workouts week in and week out, to be able to make sure that I am staying on top of it. But he's got a great process. He's got, some good former teammates back in Fayetteville, Arkansas, where he's able to go train at Arkansas. He's got a snapper and a holder there. So that just says a lot about his work ethic, the sacrifice that he puts in, and how badly he truly wanted this.
Did you go to any of those camps in person, or was it all like you talked to people there?
Yeah, so we had scouts go out. One by the name of Michelle actually went out, and we get, so if you do go out, you do get the opportunity to get the tape. So I was able to evaluate the tape.
What about the XFL? Did you guys, how much weight did you put on what he did there?
A lot. And I tell you what, the XFL, USFL, UFL, it's been a great tool for really kickers. Most importantly, I mean, you look at it right now, 3 out of the 32 came from that league, and Bates, who just hit really 2 big-time kicks. You got Aubrey down in Dallas, who's having an incredible year. Then you got Parker, who's now, 4 for 4. Hasn't missed yet. So, that league is churning out good talent, at least from the specialist position. Some other positions, Turpin down in Dallas, another guy that came from that league who's who's an elite returner. So, there's some good things that's taking place in those leagues with some good talent.
Was the edginess important to you guys as you evaluate?
Yeah, I think that it is, because with the edginess comes a unwavering confidence within those guys that, even, a kick doesn't go through the uprights, they know they respond the right way. It's hard to knock their confidence when they don't see it go through the uprights, and you just appreciate that, and you know that it isn't fake confidence, that it's real, because that's how they are all the time, and you can appreciate that.
You mentioned Brian Osamoah. I'm just curious, what point did you see him kind of grow into that leader on special teams?
Yeah, I think, and I question this. I made this point to the group really at the beginning of the year, when you kind of lose Ivan Pace to defense, you lose Josh Metellus 4-4 to defense, and you lose a Troy Dye and a Chris Boyd and all these guys at free agency, and so it becomes a point to where it's like, okay, you challenge the guys in the room to say, who's going to be the pulse of this unit? Now that Josh Metellus and IP have grown on to these larger roles, like, who's the guy? And BA has taken on that role. Obviously CJ Ham was always going to be, the guy in the building. Between him and depot. And so, with that, it's like, all right, well, who else can be the guy, be the pulse, be that leader in the group? And Bia has really assumed that role. He's been a lot more vocal over these past couple of weeks, and you can just see the maturation in this player that you really appreciate, and his teammates really support him and believe in him and appreciate how he practices, what his process is like, how he prepares week in and week out. There's a level of respect that you have to earn in the room, and he's doing that, and it's good to see.
What's the differences, similarities between Romo and Will?
Good question. Well, they don't. I think the biggest thing is, are we talking from a physical standpoint? Are we talking mentally?
Well,
They hear the
you'd call Will a stone cold killer.
yeah, Will's a stone cold killer for sure. I would say I'm up here thinking wrestling. I'm thinking Stone Cold. Now I'm thinking Park's like the Undertaker or something. But Park's looking to bury you. But no, when you think about Parker Romo, I think the biggest thing is the shape shots that they're hitting is a little bit different. Will hits more of a true straight ball, whereas Park really appreciates a little bit more of a baby draw in a way. Both of them are really good ball strikers. Both of them have very, very strong legs that you can appreciate. The mentality is really the exact same. Their approach just a little bit different. I don't want to get too much into kicking mechanics just in terms of who's got a longer jab step versus a shorter jab step. But Park does have a little bit of a longer, elongated jab step than Will does. Park gets set up a little bit faster, which people might not take into account. So when the field goal team is going out there, Will takes it takes a little bit longer to say when he's ready for the snap, whereas Park gets out there, he lines up, and he's ready to go and he's ready to kick it. And so that's something that you got to work through from an operational standpoint, because it kind of matters. So that's just some small differences between the two.
What's his range? How long?
I've seen Park hit a 64-yarder. Yeah, back in OTAs, he cleared that. That's easy for him. It's funny against. Don't worry about the story. But yeah, he hit 64. Yeah, 64.
Why do you think he hasn't been given a chance till now? He hasn't had a chance.
It's a funny league, man. It's hard. And I'm sure there's a ton of other players, kickers who are very deserving and just haven't had the opportunity to. And so, I think Park found a way to maximize the opportunity that he was given here, the time that he spent here. He showed him true self and showed that he was capable of kind of owning this position and having the right to play at this position. And I'm not sure. Check the tape. The tape says that this guy's good enough to play in this league, and he just needs the opportunity. And I'm glad we were able to give it to him. With that, we just got to just keep building. Just keep building. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Did you see any nerves before the game or before the first?
Oh yeah, for sure.
First kick, what was he?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, there's always going to be nerves, leading up into it. But it wasn't more sort of like there was a quiet stillness to him, I would say. I looked in his eyes and I could see that he was locked in and everything was all good. But pregame there was definitely nerves. Once the game got going, I couldn't really see any nerves. Look him in his eyes. It looked like he was locked in. Cool. Appreciate y'all.